All right. Hey, thanks again for joining us for another triple play. And as always,
Like and subscribe.
you're not doing it with a lot of joy here.
Just it's I like like and subscribe.
Like and
Can I
subscribe.
just monotone like and subscribe? Move
Uh,
on. Sorry.
all right.
I'll get better at that.
All right.
All right.
And as always, don't forget to support those that support us. We want to make sure that you guys know about Resource One, especially right now with all this banking stuff going on. A lot of people are asking questions. Highly recommend if you want to know the answers that you give Andy McCollum and the guys at Resource One a call. And you can do that at 636 458 1798. Once again, it's 636 458 1798. We also have their link and the next one I'm about to say, CS Design's link on all of our episodes. And CS Design did our intro and outro. The website, which is supposed to be live later this week if all goes well. So we'll have our store launched, and I'm pretty excited about some of the merch. So you can give CS Design a call at 573 436 3717. Once again, that's 573 436 3717. And our guest today, as you've probably already seen him in the camera shot right now, via his phone, gotta love technology, is Dave with Dave's Racing Channel. Dave's Racing Channel has over 7,000 subscribers, but what's more impressive is some of the views of some of these videos, and they're pretty wild. So Dave, thanks for being on today, and for being our guest and talking about racing. This is something I've had a lot of people asking me questions about. I don't know a lot of. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know a lot about racing. I know Fast and Furious. So,
That's street racing.
yeah.
That qualifies.
Well,
Well, I'll do my best to give you some info.
Yeah.
awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it. And Scott, you were asking earlier how we knew each other.
Yeah.
So
Let's jump off. Let's jump off with how you know Josh, and then how you kind of got into racing. Is that something you started off with when you were young?
So, how I know Josh is more or less I grew up going to Crestwood Alliance Church, and my dad when he was alive, and my grandparents knew Josh, and yeah, just kind of knew him from that, really.
Yeah, I would even say like I want to actually get his grandpa on here sometime if we're blessed enough, because this is a story. His story has an amazing testimony. But Gordon was one of those pillars that I looked up to. He was an elder in our church, and spent some time when I was young, really in my later high school years through college years, helping me be a better man, a better Christian, and he mentored my dad a lot.
Okay.
So
Does that sound like your grandpa, Dave?
Yes,
Yeah.
the man's wonderful. I mean, we all talk highly of him.
Okay.
Every cousin or grandkid,
scoot over this way a little bit, by the way.
All right.
A little closer.
But yeah. So grew up in that church. I guess past 6, 7 years of my life, I've been working selling guns. Obviously a huge sports fan. But before we dive into the racing, I got a little. You may have already known that, Josh. I don't know, but if not, I'll give you a little interesting fact. So my cousin Carissa is actually cousins to Steve and Sally Riley's kids.
Oh, really?
But yeah, my Aunt Carol's married to his brother. Kind of small world.
Yes,
But yeah.
the Rileys were Steve was the pastor of Crestwood Alliance,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
his son Matt to this day is one of my best friends. So
Awesome.
he's one of my big supporters. I'm actually trying to get him to maybe do our app. So, but
Oh,
we'll
we got
see.
an app coming.
We're gonna yeah, if all goes well, I'm working on that too.
Okay.
So-
All right. He's moving, Dave. He's doing things. So hey, how did you get into racing?
So how did I get into racing? Really, I've always liked cars since a little kid. Really, how I got into racing was probably maybe you heard of the channel, maybe not. 1320 videos started a YouTube channel probably about 20 years ago. The guy's name's Kyle Loftus, but he'd film street racing. It started out as he'd film street and roll racing on the streets, and it kind of blossomed into, he grew it into different no prep events, really going to all kinds of races. And yeah, that's kind of what sparked my interest, really, was following that channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That
Yeah,
is really-
I checked out a lot of your videos, man. They got that GoPro on the front windshield. Awesome.
I love it. Yeah, me too. That's in fact, Dave's kind enough. We're gonna put a couple of videos for our audience to watch at the beginning, as we're talking. I know we got one that we're gonna put in here, and one towards the end that I think are awesome. A couple of them are GoPro ones that are just man, they just rock. And my sons love them. I don't know. Have your sons checked it out yet?
No.
I showed my sons, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" So they were like enjoying. They're looking for all the GoPro ones and the short clips. They love that.
They love. I'm taking them to the Gateway drag racing out there over across the river, eventually.
Oh yeah, that's a real neat track. That's actually where I first started filming. Before I ever even was allowed to actually be on the track surface, I'd just film there from like the grandstands, pretty much. But I guess that's how you start.
So how did you get to making your way? I mean, obviously you started making a name for yourself. You've grown with subscribers, and you've got some videos that have 500-600. I think you might even have a few that have 1 million views. I mean, it's just amazing. You've been doing this for a while, and now you're on the ground. So how did that all happen?
Okay, so I'll start. Really, it started as just, I wanted to go to track and film after, 1320 essentially inspired that. But Hot Rod Drag Week 2015 was the first event I filmed. And then eventually my brother, his buddy's ex-wife, it turns out, I did not know that, even though we knew her all this time, she's huge into drag racing and street, no prep, all that. So my brother calls her, and she got me to go to a street race. So I did that. That was awesome. She then introduced me to a man named Rick Cook, who was putting on a no prep event in Bonne Terre.
Can I stop you for a second? What's a no prep event for people?
Explain us.
Sure. Okay, so no prep is you're racing at a track. Usually, I'll explain all this. Basically, you're racing at what's called an outlaw track. An outlaw track is set up more kind of like a street surface, and the term outlaw, I mean, there's no rules. They don't abide by any governing body like what Gateway would or whatnot. And so with no prep's like the bare minimum. The track surface is scraped, so there's no rubber on it. Generally, there's two sides of no prep. I'm on the side where you don't even pour any traction compound to try to get any traction on that car. And then there's some who will pour puddles, but basically water burnout only is generally the rule of no prep.
Okay.
Gotcha.
There you have it.
But yeah.
And the difference is a prep, which actually has governing body rules and in a way that they perform things. Is that the other? Is there any others?
Generally, yeah. Like a governing track, those are more like your NHRA sanctioned tracks, like a Gateway. They'll have more of IHRA, AHRA, NRA stuff, or not NRA, NHRA. Forgot the H, but yeah, stuff basically like that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So they'll adhere to rules and whatever each racing event has.
So the ones that don't have any rules, where do they normally like meet or run? I mean, are these the kind of like rent out like an area on an airfield, or is this somewhere like?
Actually, yes, some of them do have airfields. One of them, one popular racing field is Hobbs, and they'll race out there. Usually, it's just a small track off in the country or whatnot. You kind of got to drive a couple hours. But yeah, they're a lot smaller tracks, and then you look at the surface. It's kind of the whole environment set up more like a street, just bringing it to a track.
Gotcha. Okay.
Have you?
I guess is the best way of putting it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you always only done drag racing? Have you done circle tracks?
I'd love to. I'm probably going to film. I've got a couple videos of like dirt. I'd like to get into filming dirt racing because
Yeah.
I really love it. It's amazing if you ever been. Seeing the cars just sliding around it's so neat that they can keep control of that.
Sorry.
And they look like they're sideways half the times.
Where are you right now? In the country, on your phone.
I'm at my house in St. Charles currently.
Okay. Have you been to? I would assume I-55. The I-55.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So
Yes.
when you said
Tri
dirt track,
City's
that's
my home track essentially for dirt whenever I go.
okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's. So, what tracks do you normally film at around here? In
For Missouri, generally Gateway. Bonter's my main home track that I film at. That's the biggest one I film at. And then the other would be Jeffers Motorsports Park.
Okay. And then, what other ones have you been to around the country? So
Around the country, I've been to Topeka
okay.
in Kansas. I'll be heading to a track in Arkansas this year. Really, I haven't gone too far, but about 3 hour radius.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'd like to maybe get down south sometime, but we'll see if that all works out.
Absolutely. So you obviously go to these, and you said you just kind of got inspired by that YouTube channel, which I mean that had to be a long time ago if it's close, at the
You said
beginning.
20 years ago. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That and really I don't know if you ever seen the show Street Outlaws on like Discovery that they talk about all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that really got me inspired early on.
No, that's really, really cool. So, how did you get your YouTube channel kind of growing? Because obviously you started doing this as a hobby. I'm guessing you just started putting a few videos up there and it just kind of took off. Is that what happened, or?
Yeah, I started putting videos up, and then people you see at the track, especially if they're asking you questions about, oh, who won that race or this or that. If you're filming, I definitely throw a plug for myself. I've done that on social media. You say, hey, if you would kindly throw me a subscribe or whatnot.
It's a good name to remember.
But yeah, you talk to people at the tracks, different things like that.
Gotcha. And then, what kind of cameras do you? Obviously, you got a few different cameras. Because when I'm watching, obviously we love the GoPro. We were talking about the GoPro is by far the really cool. I mean, to me, it's one of the
the GoPro's my main.
Yeah.
So I use 3 cameras. Eventually I'm gonna upgrade my Sony, which is the one I usually film at the starting line with. I'm gonna upgrade that possibly this year if everything works out. But really the GoPro, and if there's an emergency situation where that battery's not charged enough or I don't have enough spares and one's on a charger, I'll jump on my phone if the races are just going that long for a bit,
Yeah.
But
I'd imagine, I mean, you spend a lot of time around the track. I'd imagine you get there a little bit early, stay a little bit late.
Always got to get there early.
Is there a pretty standard operating procedure as far as like prepping to get on the track, getting in the car? Does everybody do the same thing, or are there teams that you've noticed that do things differently? In those things?
You know what? There's a big difference between you really notice between like some of the smaller budget guys versus the people who have big money, but really everyone goes through, you check, make sure your harness is, everything's working.
Yeah.
But yeah, they go over, basically go over everything. Usually look at the engine between rounds. Make sure everything's top shape.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the bigger teams with the bigger money, they'll remove the valve covers and actually make sure no rocker arm or nothing's broke, nothing looks out of the ordinary, and then they just throw it back together and race.
Wow. Wow.
But
That's
yeah, and then really the standard procedure to start a race. I don't know if you know how that works with drag racing. Basically, so to you want to get heat in the tires. So with like no prep, it's water burnout only. You pull into the water box, get a little water on the tires, and then you do the burnout. You go into staging. So basically, staging. There's a couple things you got to do. You bump in, it lights the first bulb. Bump a little forward, second bulb's lit, and then the third one goes, and then that's when you take off.
Mm-hmm. Is that the biggest?
But that's kind of how that works.
Is that a big separator? That third bulb, that reaction time for drivers, is that the biggest differentiator?
It depends. They also have different trees. The pro tree's more of an instant once you bump in, and then it basically catches you. It just goes green,
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta be ready to react quick. But it's certain levels of racing use the different trees.
Okay.
But pro tree is probably the most common I've seen, unless they're just doing like a flashlight start. And then a flashlight start, that's just stemming from like street racing or the hand drop, where as soon as he clicks that flashlight and you're staged, both racers need to take off.
Yeah.
Or else you're basically sleeping on the light is what it's called if you don't react fast enough.
Yeah.
So on your page, what are some of the videos that you have noticed that viewers have identified with? What are some of your top views and what separates them? So
I guess generally, if it's good content, I had one where a couple of years ago where I was filming at Bonterre and the car grenaded. The motor just blew and it shot the parts out the hood.
Wow.
And I knew
Yeah.
before I ever uploaded it, I'm like, oh, that's going to get big views.
Mm-hmm.
And, so some of them that grab attention like that will. Obviously, if it's a driver with a big name,
who are some
Hot Rod Drag Week, for example, that drag and drive event I told you, which I started on, like a name like Jeff Lutz or some of those guys, bigger names in that industry will obviously, draw bigger views too, or a car that resonates with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that 57 that you said.
Yes.
That was for those who are watching right now, we're going to put that in there for just a second. You'll get a chance to check out this 57. It's pretty awesome.
Really appreciate his support of Drag Week. He's always been really, really loyal to us, obviously winning the thing overall twice in different cars. This is a brand new 57 Chevy, and he did swear to us he's quitting the flat black. That is over. We're done with that.
This is the Phantom car that the original car was supposed to be. Didn't have time to paint it that. People really picked up on the flat black stuff. And guess what? This little trailer behind the car is now fully staged again. Takes it through the 8-mile beautifully clean run. We have new data to give you back on what a Randy.
Yeah, there's a
that's he's been one of my favorites from like the drag and drive event. So let me kind of fill you in on what a drag and drive event is. So I don't know if they're the creators of Hot Rod Magazine or if they just work for it, but Mike Finnegan and a guy named David Freiberger, they came up with the idea for Hot Rod Drag Week. Basically what it is, it's It's a drag and drive event. And what you do is anyone, as long as that car's street legal, can drive across the country wherever, whatever track they choose. But usually they pick a handful of tracks, and it's the whole week. And you got to be able to drive your race car from track to track, whether it runs 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds in a quarter. You need to be able to drive it on the street without it blowing up or this or that, And there's people who literally rebuilt those cars in the parking lot or on the street going from track to track. Wow. But yeah, it really kind of tests the endurance of not just the competitor, but their vehicles.
Wow. And
yeah.
You've probably seen some wicked crashes too. I noticed one of the ones I was watching earlier.
Yes.
Last night, it was a wicked crash, man. This guy.
Okay, so I gotta admit something.
Yeah.
I'll admit something with the crashes. I don't know. I guess I got to get over that. My one friend who's really big into cars, he goes, "You just got to keep the camera on rolling." But I have a problem where I've actually missed a couple of bigger crashes because I just shut off the camera. I don't know why. I feel. I don't know if it's a guilt thing or what, but I just can't. I don't know what it is. I don't like to see
other people's misery.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically what it is. Wow. But yeah, so I got to do a little bit better of a job on that because you're supposed to just keep the camera rolling.
Just think of yourself as a living historian, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're recording history.
But yeah, probably the craziest one I seen. I could actually, I'll send you the pictures to your Facebook Messenger after we're done. One of the craziest crashes I seen was actually the first no prep I ever filmed. The guy actually won the small tire class for the event, and I think the grand prize was $10K, so sadly it cost him a lot more than $10K. Mm-hmm. But he stayed in it to win it. You could see his car was getting loose on the big end, and it got sideways away from him. He did win the race, but he went right over the guardrail and into a barrel roll.
Wow.
So, yeah. But one of the he's got pictures standing in front of it with his check, and the car's just demolished. But one of the funniest things, I mean, you shouldn't laugh at. It's not really laughing at anyone's misery on that, but I thought it was funny what he said. He goes, well, I guess I won't be getting any insurance money for it since it's going to be all over the internet. Which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No medical bills?
Yeah.
He was good?
What's that?
I said he didn't have any medical bills that had to come out.
No. What's a miracle? You look at the car. It's a wonder how anyone survives that. But those roll cages, I guess it was just built so well it protected him. The only injury he had, if you even call it that, he had just a little cut on his hand. Wow. That was it. And that may have came from the steering wheel for all I know.
Yeah, probably glass getting out of the car, huh?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's possible too. Yeah.
So you've been around cars for your whole life, right? Essentially,
mm-hmm.
you've had a passion for it. How over from when you were maybe 10 to 15 to 20, your passion for racing, how's that changed now that you've gotten older and you've gotten maybe more into the muck, the details? How's that changed your view for the better, or maybe you're a little bit more grounded in your love for racing?
Oh yeah. I feel like you love it more each day.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's what I was getting
But yeah. Usually, because that's the difference. When like covering a racing season down south, they'll race all year. They can go in the winter. So usually on the weekends, I'll try to catch a race down south on stream it through my computer or whatnot, stuff like that.
All right. So what about in the Midwest? I mean, what are the normal seasons around here? Because obviously we don't race.
Yeah. So basically, a normal season, it's for little longer than going through I guess the Cardinals baseball season. It starts probably around April, ends November.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So basically, the new season's getting ready to start
Yeah.
here. And so Bonne
Yep.
Terre and Gateway will be lighting it up soon. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
gotcha. Gotcha.
There's already been a bit of testing going on actually too. So
Awesome.
It's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. What age do you notice like most young kids are getting involved in it? Like my kids, I got two elementary sons, and they're loving it. I mean, is that a good age to bring them down and let them watch and enjoy it?
I think really any age, all age can love racing. It's really what I've noticed. It really is a family oriented sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really family oriented. You could tell like the racers, they're very a lot of them are really well grounded. Um, but yeah, it seems like just about everybody at that track, whether they know you or not, they treat you like a friend.
No.
But
You notice
yeah,
that. You notice that at certain types of events like that. I would agree. What about like the top guys? You mentioned earlier some of the top
hmm
guys. Is there somebody who really stands out right now in the race? Is there somebody right now who is the
it
go-to?
depends. Like if we're talking NHRA, the big names would be like Steve Torrance in his Top Fuel, Brittany Force, John Force, those names, Pro Stock, Erica Enders. If we're talking like what I'm filming, no prep, street, probably the heaviest hitter on the street, small tire. I really couldn't tell you anyone better would be Joey Heichel and the Beater Bomb.
Yeah, the beat around. I
And
saw
then
that.
with the no prep guys, uh, they have that no prep King series. Those guys are really crazy. They're from a lot of them came from the show Street Outlaws, but those cars will run 3 second eighth mile times. You know,
Mm.
yeah, that's 200 mile an hour and 660 feet. If that gives you a perspective or an idea.
Wow. So
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So another thing I was wondering, it looks like a lot of the cars that I watch at are more of the classic, cars that I grew up, muscle cars we called them growing up.
Yes.
Are you noticing any other styles of cars that are doing well, or is it really just man the old school 60s,
Um,
70s, early 80s muscle cars are the thing? So
Really, it does seem to be 60s, 70s, 80s cars seem to be the most popular, but you'll see not 90s, 2000s Camaros, Mustangs, stuff like that. One interesting one I found out, which actually can be a pretty heavy hitter on the street because they don't make near the horsepower as some of these cars, but because they're all-wheel drive and they just get that traction so well, those Teslas, because they just instantly just hook up every time, it seems, they actually do really well on the streets
oh
in
yeah.
in like a street race.
Oh my goodness! I'll tell you what. I watched a video where some guy was going like 0 to I think it was like 200 in his
hmm
Tesla, and I mean that thing just flew. I mean it was zoom because it doesn't have to do all the stuff inside the engine like a normal engine, I
Yeah,
guess.
they're really impressive. I mean, I'm more of the old school. I love the sound of a roaring V8, but yeah, those Teslas are really impressive at what they can actually do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Smart car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be neat to see a little smart car.
So
Someone build a drag car out of one.
It'd be light.
yeah,
Yeah.
any predictions
The
for?
wheelbase, I think, might hurt you with that, though. Might be too narrow.
Well, you could get some extension. You could extend it out. No, I don't know.
Give it the
I
wide.
don't know, I don't know how that flies on no prep.
Yeah.
What about gasoline? Does that change prep? Like, can you alter that?
Yes. So most of cars I see running, they'll run like a race fuel. Like wow, let me think of some
Is it home? Is that
turbo
home mix?
blue or rocket race fuel, stuff like that. Um,
Where do you get
when you
stuff
get
like
into
that?
the really, huh?
Where do you get stuff like that? You have to make it yourself.
Oh, you got to buy them from generally performance racing shops.
Okay.
So it actually does become a little harder to find the fuels at points, especially if you start getting into the methanol, alcohol, or the nitro, especially like that. It gets harder to find, and then prices can be a little more steep when you're getting into those different race fuels.
Nitro. That's what they had in the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I actually got a good, interesting little tidbit with nitro. I learned.
What's that?
Don't ever pour nitro on any kind if you got paint nearby. I was pouring some nitro fuel and it literally started to eat the paint right below, and I was like, "Oh,
Seriously?
whoops, sorry."
Yeah.
That's interesting to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll just instantly eat it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I bet.
So yeah, that's one little tidbit I learned.
So, so in all that, you're Fast and Furious. Have you noticed a lot of like the street cars like you would see in there, like the old 80s
Supras.
and stuff like that? Did they do any like races like that too? So
Yeah, they have all those different events. In fact, they actually just had an event where there was Supra that went like 230 miles an hour, I think, just this past weekend.
That's
Yeah, that was down in, I think. Oh, I hope it's in Texas. I want to say Houston, I think, is where they held it, but that was a TX2K is what it's called.
wow, wow, that's pretty cool. That's wow, 200.
But yeah, you'll see them.
Have you ever hopped behind the wheel?
Have I? Oh, I'm chicken. My brother, he's got a bit of a race car. In fact, can you guys see me pretty well through the camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
here I'm
see
gonna
it.
walk outside real quick, and I'll let you peek at his little ride out here.
Yeah.
Unless it's got the tarp over it.
Well,
Well,
it's
shoot,
raining.
I could probably pull the tarp off it for a sec.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
But he's more of the one who will actually race. I'm kind of a little chicken.
No, you got. It's all right to be a little. It's cool to enjoy.
So
sports.
that's what he's got going on in the bed.
Ooh.
Wow.
Twin turbos.
Yeah. Twin.
But
So-
tuck that back under.
You never.
So basically, yeah, he built an S10 that's a bit of a hot rod.
Wow. Okay.
S10s are fast coming off the factory line.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Oops, there we go. Let you peek.
That's incredible.
And then that's kind of a little bit of.
That's pretty cool.
You've gotta get behind that one day. You gotta.
What's that?
I said you gotta get behind the wheel one day.
I'd gladly probably let someone else make a pass that fast, but boy, that'd be a handful.
It's intimidating. I would imagine that's intimidating.
Yeah, it really is. I've been in a couple cars where we had a buddy who he's actually recently passed away, but he had a 65 Corvette, which at one time was the fastest street car in the world. It was the first car to run 8 seconds in a quarter mile.
Wow.
But I've been in that. That was probably about 1,500 horsepower, I think. So I mean, it definitely you feel that power. It kind of it sucks you into the seat when when they hit the gas.
I played with a guy that had a Ferrari. It was like a newer Ferrari. It was like a 2016. and that, I mean, you said 1,500 mile or horsepower. This probably had 800, and 800 was like,
Really?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine twice that.
I can't imagine being in a Ferrari.
You,
That's something I'd love to experience at some point, hopefully one day.
Hey, I've been in a Lambo. That's been my only thing I've ever done, and that was a long time ago now.
It's cozy.
So,
It's a cozy car.
yeah,
You just sit there and
Mm.
you go, yeah.
yeah. It's that's interesting. So, well, hey, Dave, was there anything that you think that we should kind of hit about your channel or about racing this upcoming season that our listeners should know? And any last minute stuff there.
Yeah, like people that
Well, if I could actually put a plug for, it'll actually be for an act. Basically, so the government's been trying to crack down on performance parts, and so uh, PRI, it stands for Performance Racing Industry, and the racers all kind of teamed together and they started the RPM Act, which is to preserve our racing and aftermarket parts. So I'd really encourage everyone to check that out. Check out the RPM Act, sign it, and throw your support for the racers because it affects every sport. NASCAR's discussed it. It'll affect all the auto industry if
Yeah, that's
you know.
well. Do you have a link or something that we could maybe drop into this episode so people could check it that you could send me?
I could probably send it. Yeah, after we're done. Yeah, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
just called, maybe it's just called the RPM Act that we could just
Yeah,
Google search that?
it is.
We'll
Okay.
try to find it and put it into this episode. We'll put it in our
Yeah,
the
I was gonna say I could
notes.
definitely send it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine that would affect part manufacturers.
yes,
Niche.
that's what they're doing.
companies.
They've already really hit the diesel industry hard, like the people who tune the diesels and all that.
Unbelievable.
But yeah,
All right, well,
Yeah.
keep an eye out for the RPM
Yeah,
Act.
we definitely will. We definitely will. And we appreciate you swinging in here and giving us your time today.
yeah. I guess as far as I go, just keep an eye out for more videos. I guess
No.
is what I'll tell the viewers.
Dave's Racing Channel. It's not
But,
hard to remember. Dave's Racing
Hopefully,
Channel.
I'll have some clarity on different races we'll be going to soon. One of them I'm definitely targeting is Arkansas for sure. I'd like to get out there. But
Awesome. Well, and hopefully we're going to do a little teaming up with you guys going forward. So people should keep an eye out, and we're going to try to take Dave's Racing Channel a little bit underneath our wing a little bit and help you guys grow because I think that's a really cool. I'll go back and say my boys when I told them that we were going to have you, they're like, racing's kind of cool. And then we went to the channel and they started looking, they're like, oh my, and they love the GoPro stuff. They were just like, this is cool. Like special is like, I would say what it is. I guess it's the TikTok era. They love those minute and a half videos, man. They just zip. And so there's a whole bunch of those. And they're just watching it like,
Yeah, goldfish have bigger attention spans than humans do now.
I know.
I think
yeah,
theirs is like 3
yeah,
minutes.
that's one thing I noticed. If I guess it's my demographics. Generally, those 3 to 5 minute videos do well. But if I do a 30 or 40 minute video, it seems like I'm only eating up about half the time. They're watching about, if it's a 40 minute, they're watching 20 minutes.
Right.
So it's trying to keep that attention span.
Yeah, we've run into the same thing. We've been shortening our episodes a little bit and trying to do parts 1 and 2 to meet expectations as best we can to help our audience. We want to make stuff that's entertaining, and yet we want them to be able to watch it and enjoy it and watch it in entirety. Because sometimes the best stuff can be at the end. Sometimes it can be at the beginning. I mean, we just learn now. When we come in, we just hit record. So
Yeah, just record.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I've been watching, so well,
We appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
very
anytime.
much. Well, hey, we appreciate you coming on today and being a part of this. And for those who are wanting to know more about you, we're going to put you up your stuff up on the links and everything. And we again want to thank you for coming out. And then for our audience, don't forget to
Like and subscribe.
yeah.
Triple Play and also Dave's Racing Channel. Keep, if you subscribe, I would imagine they'd get some notifications of some new races you're going to be going to this spring and summer. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And then keep an eye out for our new website getting ready to kick it. We have that coming, and we'll be here before we know it. So thanks again for joining us for Triple Play.
yeah.
So
Thanks, Dave.
yep.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you.
All right. You're safe.